The essential most place for everyone to witness their unique heaven and hell will be on social media. I think it's fascinating, though, that the way we pipeline data and information, it's whether it's intentional or not, the outcome is still the same. Not everybody is getting the full picture of what's happening. This TikTok is inspired by a few weird conversations I have unfortunately found myself in. Um, so, for example, let's take all this stuff about femicides happening around the world. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But then there was someone talking to me about how dating is miserable for men and how women can be, and women are just so angry. And then I proceeded to tell him some of the things I was seeing, and he was like, "What are you talking about? What shows up on your feed?" And I'm like, "Well, it's my unique hell based on the things I've gone through in my childhood and things that have happened in my country, that happened to my people, and they're being displayed out." And I was like, imagine how it feels to look at that kind of stuff and then directly come into conversation and feel like things are not that bad. And that really helped put it into perspective for him. Like, we need to have a synthesis of all of our heavens and hells, and we need to be seeing these deeper, fuller pictures together. And on that note, your demons are likely sharing the same language as you. There was and this requires me taking accountability. I had a very jarring conversation with somebody who talked a lot about preserving their race and their high qualityness and pureness. And it starts sounding like supremacy ideology. It's the seed of it. And I've never heard someone say that to my face. It's stuff you see online. But then I had to be honest with myself and think, is there any part of me that has that? And oftentimes, like, when we hear something super god awful, we're like, no way, that has nothing to do with me. Fuck all that noise about realities like Inside Out, you know what I mean? However, can we take accountability and see whether there are those thoughts, that language within us as a latent property that just has not yet been discovered? Because we talk about reality as inside out like it's number one and then number two. And we just, that's still navigating with the human limitation because we have an experiential frame rate. So we see things in linear time. But it's all happening at once. So reality can look outside in too. It's just what awareness notices first. Like I said, our unique heavens and hells are present with us in this world. And if our inner demons, before we take birth, were to, and their language and their sound and all of that, if they were to take the form of people we call our friends, then we wouldn't recognize those things within us as demons. We would see it as worthy of constantly either exacerbating or fanning the flame. And I think that's why the demons within us manifest as our enemies. In no way am I suggesting that if something horrible happens to you, that you need to sit down and think about how everything is your fault. But I am trying to put everyone on game because it's a consent-based reality. There's like some proverbial terms and agreement thing out in the ether that we're signing off on. And that's just a metaphor, but like that is a lot of how it works. Back to that supremacist ideology, I had to look within my own self and see, is there any part of me that genuinely thinks it's better than other people? Everyone has thoughts like that. And honestly, as jarring and kind of sick to my stomach that conversation made me for like a variety of reasons I'm not really going to get into, I was really thankful that person told me step by step what they're thinking and why, because I had the opportunity to intervene and change some of that. And whatever they choose to do with that is their own free will, right? You can't like convince people of anything that don't want to be convinced. And if they are convinced, it's because they wanted to be. And who knows, maybe that's why that conversation even happened. Sometimes I feel like at an unconscious level, most souls will know or be aware of their limitations, and then they bring it up in a place where they feel like they can say something and it won't totally shut down. So even for myself, the gift from that conversation was like something that like slaps you in the face so hard you have no choice but to look within. Like, why the hell would this have happened? This is not something I consider a part of my regular convo. This kind of way of thinking is beneath me. Well, there it is. That's the first example. And it is this type of non-dualistic thinking applied that makes non-duality a difficult concept to grasp. Because in the Shiva Sutras, there's the verse of Jnanam Bandha, which, I conclude from it that true non-duality is not just looking at things non-dualistically. It's being able to look at it both dualistically and non-dualistically. It's the universal set of both. And to hear out all of these other ways of thinking, even when you hardcore disagree, is one of the most difficult things for a vessel of consciousness to do, because we would like to be within our own circles and be comfortable and have things be convenient and, smooth. Studying consciousness is difficult because there's like an aspect of it that feels like studying demonology too. But I mean, this is my path that I chose, and it's not something you get in a book. It happens in real life, in real time. I wonder if you can change your language, can you integrate the demon? I don't know. I think that there are things that we all have within us and are unique. Like if you think of a Venn diagram, so that's how I think when your soul's like, expanding, like your heaven and hell also like become more intense. And so as they overlap, I think that's how we come to collective agreements. That's what we're all here to sort of discover on planet Earth. To have these conversations and like to awaken within. As long as we have differentiation, we will have duality. I believe really where we want to get into with society, I'm thinking the whole solar punk, Renaissance Enlightenment vibe. We want to get to a place where differentiation is more of a measure of richness of consciousness, of its multiplicity, of its diversity, rather than turning into something that would cannibalize itself and be self-sabotage like. Even if we don't think we would ever do something like super duper terrible, maybe it's not even us just individualistically, but the idea of like samskaras, like imprints of your previous lifetimes that come into this one. Like if you have it like within your family, maybe they've said some things to you growing up and it's like because it might not be intrinsic, but it might have been pushed on you. And maybe it's like so deep within that like it takes something jarring to like make you think, why would I this? What? Another thing, I feel like this kind of stuff happens when you're really close to being at the very top of your goal and mission, because if you're trying to get taken to a place where you can have real genuine leadership, you need to embody these godlike qualities, and God is described as all loving and all forgiving. That doesn't mean everything needs to be accepted. It doesn't mean that there isn't pain and suffering. I'm never going to negate real trauma and pain, right? That depth is necessary to come face to face with. I'm a death scream hate girly pop before I ever am a live laugh love girly pop, because I know that death scream hate needs me first before it can be live laugh love. And the challenge there is interesting. There's a lot of challenges in studying consciousness in real life, because as soon as I put it out into the ether and Shiva and I met and I decided non-duality is how I would study it, I didn't think it would be like this, and it's really difficult to talk about online too, because that's just not how online spaces are. That's not what the conversations ever become about. But once again, I do want to put everybody on game with this, because we are not in charge as much as we could be of our realities. We're in a country that talks about the freedom of speech. Well, I challenge that. If we really had the freedom of speech in its full efficacy, then we would have the freedom of independent reality creation. But oftentimes, the biggest, like, think of social media as like the most etheric propaganda you could get, like the meta level, which is like convincing you that in order to be like informed on the things that are important, that social media is the place to get that. Because that's how like they're making their money, by putting gaps in the information fields that we have, and us not being able to identify this, because this is a systems design problem at a really high like computational level, because the collective consciousness is one like mind, like we're individual nodes. It's also an ecosystem. It's alive. So I think that's why too, like, you could be the most logical person and we're all as a collective sucked into this darkness on planet Earth right now, because everyone's got that thing in their heart that tugs at them. That common enemy is like ignorance and or fear, because things will come from two places, like unity and connection versus like separation, disconnection, fear, over love. We're often told what to think about, what to be mad about, what would happen if we don't even think about these things, that we're not good people. Of course, you should be informed. I mean, don't be dumb, But we don't have the ability to look at life through our own unique lens. We don't. We have a noise pollution problem in America and around the world, honestly. Even if you go fill up your gas, there's like ads there. It's a noise pollution problem and an urgency problem. I feel like the way to combat that is to move infinitely slowly and look within and be in silence. And the more you do that and the more infinite you become from within, the more intense the weird conversations get around you. Because it's like, as you go deeper and deeper within, you're trying to hit your God mode. That's not flowers and rainbows. Once again, it'll be demons before it's that. Just like a tornado, to see like the nice sunshine that gaslights you afterwards, or, the rain causing the rainbow. So that is really the overall message here. How we need to watch our language, and we need to check to see where our language comes from, because thoughts aren't generated independently. They're not created. They're filtered through cosmic consciousness. So a better question to ask is like, is this thought coming from the inwards area, or is it like outwards? And that interaction, that Leela that's happening on planet Earth, where everyone comes in with their own demons. I know there's some people that are genuinely like kinder than others. And also, demons within us, outside of us, are a great opportunity to integrate and learn. As difficult as it is for me to come across these real life conversations where I don't know why they're happening, I know it's Shiva's play showing me it's different, orientations of like, this too is God. It's just how much God is remembered versus forgotten. It's extremely difficult. And also, this is the conversation we need to be having. I'm so thankful to be able to see, like, in real life where the missing pieces are. It's why I've been off of social media for a long period of time, because I've gone deep into investigating a lot of different people's psyches. And it's really difficult because I do want to just relax and have fun and have a group of friends and stuff to hang out with, but I'm really like in hermit solo mode with all this like crazy stuff. But this is it. This is the education, and we need to have more silence, and we need to see how we can infinitely slow down lots of things so we can really pay attention to things and like what's really happening to us, which honestly I think is what psychedelics do for people. They put you in that state so you like everything is vivid, because you're like really looking at everything as if it's its own universe, its own rainbow. That is all.